All right, Journey fans, Steve Perry fans, music lovers, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you right there, and yours truly right here. All right, so Journey has only so many concert dates left. Looking at the schedule, they got some big places. They got Tampa coming up. They got Houston, Nashville. Of course, they wrap things up out in LA with two shows at the Forum. The first show's already sold out. Houston, I believe, is sold out. Tampa is sold out. And I want to say Nashville is sold out. So these guys they're doing well. And they're doing well with a guy who's now in the band as their lead singer longer than anybody else. I'm talking about continuously serving, and that would be Arnel Pineda. As the internet blows up today with Steve Perry's return, keep in mind, Steve Perry won't be coming back to Journey, okay? It's not going to happen, folks. You may see maybe Neil Sean and Steve Perry working on something maybe next year. Don't know. I know Neil wants it, and Perry hasn't really communicated that he wants to do anything with anybody, but he is putting out music. Social media presence today, it blew up. It's not just the website, it's also Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else you can communicate. It's fine. It's good news if you're a Steve Perry fan. But if you're a fan of the underdog who came over here from the Philippines and shocked the world by becoming the lead singer of one of the world's greatest rock bands, that's a story that never gets old for me. And I think the fans, what they ought to do when they go to these shows, for the rest of the year, they ought to hold a sign, of thanks. They ought to just be very appreciative of what Arnel, has been able to accomplish. Now, I know vocally Arnel, is starting to wear out. He's starting to wear down. You can hear it. It's difficult. These notes are ridiculous. The music was sung, by a 20-something-year-old bionic man who probably can't sing like that anymore, let's be honest, but we'll find out what he sounds like. And few can. There are just a handful of people I've heard currently who can still do what Steve Perry did in his prime. Arnel joined the band when he was 40, okay? And he's now 50. And, if you look at Steve Perry, when he kind of left the scene, he was 48 years old. And now he's, 68, 69 years old. So it's an interesting comparison to look at who had the better vocal cords and maybe just most vocal cords under that kind of stress would certainly lose their ability to hit these notes and so forth. But the reason I'm doing an Arnel video today is because I just feel like crap just about this guy, because I think he's getting the short end of the stick, like I've said before. He was brought over here. Yeah, his life changed. It went from rags to riches. But I've heard him say, money doesn't, make people happy. I think he understands his place in the world. I think he really loved this when he started. And he had that humble energy that, when he first got on stage, he was so worried. And he was, watch the documentary if you haven't seen it. It's called Every Man's Journey. You got to give Neil Sean some credit, because without Arnel, the last 10 years may not have happened. They were going to go with this other guy by the name of Jeremy. And Jeremy, his voice, I think a couple of years after the tryouts, just went south. I mean, I think the guy is not in music anymore, and it's pretty sad, because he was leading one of the great Journey tribute bands at that time called Frontiers. By the way, I don't think Jeremy is anywhere close to what my friends in the band Escape are able to achieve with Jason Kelty on vocals. And I'd even add the band Resurrection with Ryan Christopher, I think, Both of those, I think, are better bands than Frontiers was, but that could have been your lead vocalist. And I think Neil Schon made a very savvy, bold, sort of out of the box choice to bring this guy over here. And, you know, I'd say for the first 5-6 years when the band had that cohesion and it wasn't just a business and it was more of a family, things were fantastic. I just think the number of dates these guys have to do and the music they have to sing eventually took its toll on Arnel, and you could hear it last year, and you can definitely hear it this year. But he's out there, and he's still plugging away, and this band, they'll be in Virginia Beach tonight, and Journey will wrap up again in Los Angeles, and some of these dates are already sold out. So if you're a fan, maybe bring a sign. Maybe say thank you, Arnel, because I think this is the end of this. I think this group of people are not going to be together as Journey after October. So give Arnel a shout out because he deserves it. He deserves fan appreciation. I think if I were Neil Schon, I would just introduce Arnel Pineda during whatever song and ask the audience to say thank you to Arnel because he's just killed it. He's done everything he can do for the last 10 years, and he deserves our thanks as music fans. All right, done with this video. I'll be back to tell you about what Steve Perry's album might sound like soon, so stay tuned.